Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar hosted by Municipal Information Systems Association of California, also known as MISA, co-presented by AgreeYa Solutions and Oklahoma City Fire Department, also known as OKCFD. We are thrilled to have you all join us today for an insightful discussion on optimizing emergency service operations with Microsoft 365. My name is Kanu, and I'm your moderator for today's session. Before we deep dive into the webinar, let's start with a quick poll and know you all better. Everyone, you'll have 10 seconds to answer the poll. We really encourage you to take the poll and share your responses. Waiting for your responses. All right, let's move ahead, everyone. Okay, now let's take a moment to know today's agenda and the flow of today's discussion. First, we'll start with a quick introduction of our esteemed panelists and their respective organizations. Next, we'll dive into the challenges faced by OKCFD and common obstacles encountered by emergency service providers. Following that, we will move to the heart of our webinar, the real-world case studies. We'll provide a quick glimpse into our projects with OKCFD, including intranet modernization to connect on-field and in-office staff members, mobile accessible applications tailored for emergency workers, enabling data-driven operation optimization, modern workplace solutions to improve employee experience. Our panelists will share their experience and insights into successful initiatives aimed at optimizing emergency service operations. Lastly, we'll wrap up with concluding remarks, including summarizing key takeaways from today's discussion and highlighting actionable insights that you can apply in your organization. During the presentation, we request that participants please drop in your queries in the Q&A box. Our panelists will be happy to address them. All right. Let's begin by introducing our esteemed speakers. Please join me in welcoming Clint Regia, Project Manager at Oklahoma City Fire Department. Clint will delve into the specifics of how they overcame challenges related to digital transformation, enhancing efficiency and response times in one of the largest emergency service departments in the US. Next, we have Ankit Saxena, Enterprise Architect for Modern Workplace Practice at AgreeYa Solutions, who will share his experience in implementing these projects. Our knowledgeable speakers will guide us through an insightful presentation showcasing their collaborative efforts that have revolutionized Oklahoma City Fire Department's efficiency, decision-making, and service delivery operations. I will now hand over the session to Clint and Ankit. Please introduce yourself to our attendees today and tell our esteemed guests a little about your organizations. Thank you, Clint. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks. As Kanu said, my name is Clint Regia. I'm the business manager for the Oklahoma City Fire Department. I've served in this role for the past 12 years. Prior to that, I was a management specialist here in fire. And prior to that, I worked in the budget office and the treasurer's office briefly. My primary role is to manage the finances for our department, which includes purchasing, payroll, grants, contracts, and our annual budget of $220 million. I'm also the project manager for this transition to the Office 365 cloud environment. The OKC Fire Department has really enjoyed our collaboration with AgreeYa, and I look forward to telling you about it with Ankit.
Yeah, thanks, Clint. Hi, all. My name is Ankit Saxena. It's great to have you all here today with us joining this exciting webinar. I've been working with AgreeYa as an enterprise architect for the last 6 years and have been in this industry for almost 20 years. My primary role is to help and guide different customers building effective solutions around modern work via Microsoft 365, which includes some of the tools like SharePoint Online, Teams, OneDrive, Copilot, Viva, and Power Platform. I love designing solutions and architectures to support our client needs in their day-to-day work. And it's been indeed a pleasure working with Clint and the Oklahoma City Fire Department. Clint, would you like to tell us a little more about the department itself?
Yeah, of course. Here's just a little bit of information about our department. The Oklahoma City Fire Department began as a small volunteer fire company. The department was initially led by Fire Chief Andy Benz. We had one donated horse-drawn wagon housed in a small frame building. When we formed in 1889, it was our department's duty to protect less than 10,000 residents. Today, the Oklahoma City Fire Department has over 1,000 firefighters. They work from 38 strategically placed fire stations. We serve more than 700,000 residents in Oklahoma City, and they're spread out over 621 square miles. So we face a lot of both urban and rural challenges. Our current fire chief is Richard Kelly. Our vision is to build a premier fire department through risk reduction, innovative emergency response, and inclusiveness that exceeds community expectations. Our mission is to respond quickly, safely, courteously, meet the need. Our department is comprised of 3 divisions and fire administration. The operations division is under the direction of Deputy Chief Mike Walker. It includes fire suppression, special operations, emergency medical services, fire training, and emergency management. Our support services division is also under the direction of a deputy chief, Shane Smiley. Support services personnel are a combination of uniformed and civilian personnel who often work behind the scenes to support the operations of the Oklahoma City Fire Department. We do have a dedicated fire IT team of 4 employees that focus on network, hardware, station connectivity, MDCs, station alerting, our drone program, and many other IT-related functions. They have been instrumental in our partnership with AgreeYa as well. As we launched this project and I was appointed to manage it, I was given 2 new positions, a business intelligence specialist and a systems analyst 1. These positions are assisting me in collaboration efforts with AgreeYa, and my team's focus revolves around innovation and application development, along with intelligent reporting. We also have the fire prevention division. Fire prevention consists of 3 work sections. They all work together to prevent fires and accidents from happening. Fire prevention is under the direction of Deputy Chief Dominic Brown, who is the fire marshal for Oklahoma City. And this division includes code compliance, community risk reduction, and fire investigations. And then fire administration is under the direction of the fire chief. Administration is comprised of administrative services, the safety office, our wellness program, and public information. Ankit, you want to tell us a little bit about AgreeYa now?
Absolutely, Clint. So just before we move into the case studies, let me introduce who AgreeYa is, right? So we were founded in 1999 in Folsom, California. And this year, actually, we are celebrating our 25th anniversary. We specialize in delivering cutting-edge solutions across sectors, including different cities, counties, and state governments, operating in 35 states nationwide and with a team of over 2,500 experts. We do provide comprehensive services in workplace technology, modernization, analytics, automation, cloud solutions, and mobile strategies. We are a Microsoft Solutions partner as well as a cloud solutions provider. And we also collaborate with leaders like UiPath and ServiceNow. With 25 years of Microsoft expertise, we are dedicated to ensuring our clients stay ahead with smooth future-ready operations. Kanu, I would like to hand over to you for doing our next poll before we get started.
Thank you so much, Ankit and Clint. That was wonderful knowing both of you. Now it's time for our second poll. I request all the attendees to please do let us know about the challenges that they can relate within their organization. Here comes our poll. Please take 10 seconds to answer this. All right. Moving ahead, Clint and Ankit, I'm sure you'd like to enlighten our audience with the case studies and the challenges faced by OKCFD.
Yeah, thanks, Kanu. Some of the challenges the Oklahoma City Fire Department faced prior to working with AgreeYa to help modernize our workplace was not having a central landing page. Our employees, they're spread out over 43 locations across the city, and we really needed a single intranet location to be a hub that would provide access to all of our applications, reports, apps, and just information in general. Previously, we used Microsoft Front Page and Microsoft Access for user interfaces to interact with the data, but those tools were becoming antiquated and unsupported by Microsoft. This will be a theme throughout the webinar, but a primary issue is accessing data and applications outside the city's network. City IT and the security team have a requirement to VPN into the network before we could access any files or data. The only exception to that rule was through the Microsoft Office 365 environment. Another issue was all the data that we already stored in Fire's SQL environment, which was on the city's network. Many applications were built with that data as the foundation, so we needed to find a solution to interacting with it. But this also required a solution to easily migrate data between network, on-prem, and cloud Office 365 environments. Another significant challenge is the automation of workflows in the on-prem environment. Our lives and people are mobile, so interacting with data needs to be also. How do we create workflows and user interfaces for over 1,000 firefighters that are constantly on the move? Because of all these issues, the quality of the data suffered. It also needed to be more transparent. Giving our personnel in the field the ability to see our records and reports would help both of these things a lot. These challenges were also overwhelming because there are so many different things that needed to be addressed. So me and the fire IT manager, Jose Tellez, are trying to wear all these hats of database administrators, business analysts, developers. And that's one thing that's been great about working with AgreeYa. As we identify a need, they have the ability to assign very specific resources to meet that need. So that's been really helpful. Ankit, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about what to expect in the webinar?
Absolutely, Clint. So today we want to present 3 case studies that demonstrate the successful outcomes of our collaboration with the fire department. So firstly, we will start with modernizing SharePoint Online Intranet. This is where we transformed the old intranet of fire department into a dynamic hub, as Clint mentioned. This sort of enhances overall communication and collaboration across the functions and departments. Second, we will talk about enhancing the operational agility. This is where we build mobile accessible applications, almost like 15 applications, which were tailored for firefighters. It provided real-time access to critical information and tools. And thirdly, data-driven decision-making. So leveraging Power BI, we integrated data from different sources on-prem and cloud to generate those comprehensive reports and actionable insights. We will delve into each one of these case studies in detail in the following slides. So let's begin with the first one, how we help the city fire department modernize their intranet with SharePoint Online and also the Power Platform part of Microsoft 365. Now, we all know intranets are very critical for organizations. It sort of enhances the internal communication by providing a centralized platform for sharing information and resources. They also boost efficiency and collaboration, ensuring the easy access to essential tools and documents for employees when they need it the most. So the fire department had an intranet which was built over decades ago. It was running on outdated technology. With our extensive experience in Microsoft 365 and successful intranet modernization projects for different public sector organizations, we were the perfect partner for this transformation. Clint, maybe why don't you start with telling us some of the specific challenges as it relates to intranet and what were some of your business needs?
Yeah, for sure. The intranet, it was becoming a major roadblock. As I mentioned, we were relying on Front Page and Microsoft Access as our UIs, and the software was outdated and unsupported, and everything was confined to our network. Without ongoing support, maintaining the intranet was becoming increasingly difficult. The server for some of our applications was literally just an old computer in a storage closet. These systems did not have the capability to meet our collaboration needs, making it hard for teams to communicate effectively. The user interfaces were not as user-friendly as they should be, causing difficulties for employees in accessing necessary information. Recognizing these challenges, we knew we needed a modern solution that could enhance our operational efficiency and ensure that our teams had the tools they needed to perform. That's why we turned to AgreeYa Solutions, who helped us transition to a modern SharePoint Online Intranet. This new platform not only streamlined our communication, but also greatly improved our overall operational agility. Ankit, can you tell us about the solutions AgreeYa recommended to modernize our internet?
Absolutely, Clint. So when we engaged with Oklahoma City Fire Department, we focused on delivering a comprehensive roadmap for intranet as well as the overall modernization, right? It was not just the intranet piece. And this is how we approached the engagement. So we basically started from assessment and requirements. We did an in-depth as-is landscape assessment of the current environment. And from there, we started in-depth discussions to understand the challenges, current pain points that were there with the city fire department. This assessment also guided us in pinpointing areas for improvement and gathering the detailed requirements. Once the assessment and requirement part was done, then we moved to building an extensive recommendation and roadmap based on our findings. This served as a strategic blueprint for the overall implementation process. Then we moved to creating the UX and UI designs for the intranet. So our design team went in and worked with the department heads to create user-friendly interfaces for the home, hub, and program site templates. Again, this is where we focused on building intuitive layouts, building wireframes and prototypes and mockups to ensure an easy user experience. Once the prototypes were ready, we created the templates, and from there, we moved to the intranet build out where using the latest SharePoint Online features, we created the new intranet aligned with our roadmap and design. And this is where we also built some of the custom components or web parts tailored to the department. Again, this intranet helped seamless information access and enhance the overall collaboration and communication within the department. Next, I would like to illustrate the sort of the information architecture that we built out for the fire department intranet. We defined the structure using hub and communication sites altogether, following Microsoft's recommended best practices and modern site architecture, which was not to use subsite, that what we had in traditional SharePoint on-premise. All these program sites that you see here were created using a standardized program template, ensuring a uniform appearance across the sites. And we gave this template to the fire department IT so that they can create more program sites when there is a need. In addition to structuring these sites, we also finalized global and local navigations, establishing a security model with roles and permissions, and also implemented various taxonomies for managing the metadata. This modern hub-site architecture ensured consistent branding, appearance, navigation, and overall enhancing the search experience, as well as bringing the flexibility, especially during any reorg changes within the department. Clint, would you like to tell us how this impacted you, the implementation of the new intranet, and what were some of the key learnings you had?
Yeah, for sure. Our modernized intranet solution delivered significant benefits. First and foremost, we had a central landing page that everyone agreed going forward that would be the homepage for the fire department. The impact after launching the site was felt immediately, as the feedback from the field was positive, encouraging, and supportive, rather than the typical complaints and frustration. Now our department is communicating about what we can do or what we are doing, rather than what we could have done or should have been doing. And that positive energy is really invaluable. As we buy into the SharePoint Online world, our fire department is now assured that we're growing and building on an architecture that can support us and adapt with us into the future. Another big component was the ability to give back time to our employees. The best way for me to explain this is with an example. Previously, our daily rig inspections were done on a piece of paper. They were written out by hand, then manually recorded. That activity was complete in third-party software. The inspection was also recorded in the station logbook, and a document was stored for retrieval if needed. And some form of communication occurred to a superior that it was completed. Now, each rig inspection is done by opening an app, answering the questions that we designed, then SharePoint Online and the Power Platform suite do the rest. We do this for over 90 apparatus every day, so you can imagine how invaluable that time was. And we'll talk more about the apps here shortly. Another major benefit is just department access. Previously, parts of our system were only accessible to about 20% of the department. Now the entire organization can access all of it. Anything that we put out there, they can get to it. from their home or mobile devices as well. These impacts underscore the value of a modern workplace solution in enhancing our operational effectiveness. Let me take over the screen real quick and I'll show you our site. So this is our landing page. This is primarily designed for our operations staff. They're the majority of our department. That's the 1,000 firefighters that we have out in the field at all of our stations responding to incidents. So we wanted to build out our primary home landing page with all of the tools that they need. This is the global navigation, which we're going to split up into separate divisions, and our BI reports and our program sites. This is the local navigation, which is going to be our districts and each of the stations in them. They each have their own homepage. We have our Power Apps over here on the side and important documents and memos that the fire chief sends out. We have some functionality here with different tools to connect all the different applications that we ask our guys to use. By having this landing page, it feels like it's all part of the same system. We also really try to get single sign-on with different software that we use, like Fire Rescue One and Lexipol and ESO. So whenever our guys click on it here, it just goes straight into that other software and it feels like it's part of our site. Another thing is our people aren't allowed to use social media whenever they're at the stations, and AgreeYa built a custom web part here that has our specific pages for Facebook, YouTube, and X. So our guys can see what we're posting out to the public. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah, you want to talk about the Power Apps now?
Absolutely. Let me take the control back to my screen. All right. So I think the next thing we want to talk about, as Clint mentioned, is the Power Apps, which is basically where we modernize the different applications, some of the existing ones, and most of them we created sort of new. And then we automated some of the business processes which were needed for the firefighters in the department to enhance their productivity. So as you can see here on the left, right, so these are some of the different applications, mobile-based applications and Power Platform-based applications we built out. Over 15 new applications were done, and then we also modernized existing ones using Power Apps and Power Automate. Some of the examples are we built a leave management system using Power Apps and Automate with a layer 2 connector, which was synchronizing data bidirectionally between SQL and SharePoint Online seamlessly. The HR incentive apps again consisted of multiple applications and workflows, which were tailored for different HR processes such as employee onboarding, performance evaluation, and benefits management. Again, these apps streamline day-to-day HR operations, ensuring efficiency, accuracy in managing the HR. The project tracker, which is the next one, offers a centralized platform that summarizes and aggregates views for all different projects in one place for a manager who is managing different projects. It did provide real-time updates on project statuses, milestones, and resource allocations, facilitating better project management and hence improving decision-making. Similarly, the ticketing tool app provides a central entry point for IT, facility, and logistics, or even issues. It also is built on a table foundation that FireAdmin created to help users communicate effectively about what the issue is. And then Ops app, which is going to be our focus today. It's a suite of 12 different mobile apps that we'll be talking next. As you can see on the left side, this is the landing page for Ops app, and then each one of these is a separate app in itself. So let's start with Ops apps. Maybe Clint, why don't you start with some of the challenges that you were facing that led to bringing this Ops apps concept in there?
Yeah. Many of our logs and processes, they were manual. They were often just on Excel spreadsheets. There was no centralized location for the data entry and retrieval. We faced difficulties in maintaining and accessing logs from different stations. There was no ability to access systems from mobile devices or outside the city's network, and no integration with relevant data sources, causing inefficiencies and data duplication. We had limited capabilities for tracking activities like inspections and permits, training, and exercise logs. This made it difficult to generate reports or create automation for processes, which we really needed. We were not using applications that could cross-verify requesters' address for burn permits and smoke alarm requests. We lacked the ability to process things electronically, such as receipts, inspection photos, or just paperwork in general that needed to be submitted to fire administration. The Ops app kind of helped us with all of these things. Ankit, do you want to talk about the solutions that AgreeYa provided us?
Absolutely, Clint. So again, the way we started the Power Platform journey into the City Fire Department was we established clear governance and architecture for all the different Power Platform apps, ensuring consistent development and management standards. This also included robust security measures and scalability. Now, they already had the Microsoft 365 licenses. They were using some of the apps. So this was more of framework and governance setup. Once that was done, then we redesigned the processes with Power Apps, created new different apps, and automated tasks and improved the user interfaces so that it leads to more efficiency and more user adoption. We integrated workflows across departments and functions, automating processes to ensure seamless data flow and enhanced reliability. And then we also enhanced the data capture and accessibility through Power Apps, enabling real-time data management and improved integration between systems. Some of the real cool examples were like features to attach photos and other documents directly from mobile devices via the firefighters when they're traveling, or allowing users to create or update logs from the fields directly via the app. Some of these solutions addressed the challenges that Clint mentioned, which were like manual processes, verification issues, reporting gaps, and also providing the users with efficient, integrated, and reliable applications. Here's an example of the architecture that we implemented for the Power Apps landscape and Power Automate as well within the fire department. So to manage the 15 plus applications effectively, we designed a structured approach. So each application had its own dedicated backend SharePoint Online site, and this is where all the data and content, including the master and transactional list and libraries, were stored. And access to these list and libraries were controlled using SharePoint Online's permission model, ensuring the data security and integrity. Whereas the front end of each of these apps was integrated within the intranet hub or home, providing users with seamless navigation to access the applications. Clint will be showing you shortly a demo of how it looks like. But following this standardized architecture across these different applications helped maintain isolation between each of the data sets, between the applications, ensured data integrity, and simplified the overall application management now and even going forward when the city builds more applications. So, Clint, what were some of the impacts you saw once we built this architecture, sort of implemented it and designed the apps?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. You know, users can log and retrieve data from anywhere, from their phones, enhancing flexibility and productivity. A single location for data entry reduces time and effort. They just have one place to go. It prevented duplicate entries and ensured accuracy of the data. It's easier and quicker to report and to build reports and see reports and access the information. The approvals for some of our workflows are automated, reducing manual intervention and speeding up processes. Real-time dashboards provide a comprehensive view of status and progress for various activities. Integration with address verification services ensures accurate and verified data. And now users can attach documents like photos and receipts directly from their phones. Some of the things we learned is centralized data entry and management significantly improves efficiency and reduces errors. Having a single source of truth for all logs and records is crucial for effective governance. Providing mobile access is essential for field personnel, allowing them to interact with the data from anywhere. And automating repetitive tasks and approval workflows reduces manual workload and speeds up the processes. This also reduces the errors. Overall, modernizing applications with Power Apps and Power Automate has significantly enhanced the Oklahoma City Fire Department's operational efficiency, data accuracy, and process automation. If I can grab the screen, I can show you guys a couple of the apps here. Yeah, just one sec.
Absolutely, Clint. I think we'd love to see that.
So one thing I want to point out on the screen real quick is we have access to some of the other apps that Ankit was talking about. This is the project manager, and then our lead portal is our LMS app. We haven't deployed the HR app yet, but it's in development. As far as the structure and the architecture, all of these apps have their own backends, and so I keep an access for myself on the administration page to get to the ops app backend, the project tracker, LMS, and different things that we're working on. But no one in the department has access to that because of the security and permissions that Ankit and AgreeYa helped us set up. Within the operations app, we have several different apps right here. Before, there was the logbook was literally a logbook where people went in and wrote down everything that happened that day. Now it's split up by district, and they can open the logbook, add something new to it. It has the required fields. It has drop downs, which makes the data more consistent and makes sure that we get all the information that we need. There's also navigation on all these apps to go back to the home page or back to the operations app homepage. We created a dispatch logbook that's similar to the district and station logbooks. Our SCBA checks and rig checks, these have to be done every day. These are crucial. And this app made it really easy for our guys to do because they can go out to the rig and they can go through, they can turn the rig on and put the odometer and the engine, the hours. They can get the readings for the fuel and oil and coolant, all the different things. And, there's very cool little navigations that you can put here on the apps that AgreeYa helped us with. Deputy Chief Mike Walker, he really had this idea and this vision before we teamed up with AgreeYa and had got a lot of these started and off the ground. But the architecture needed to be improved, the required fields, the drop downs, all the different options that our guys had. AgreeYa helped us really clean it up. So this one's been really great. SCBA check is very, very similar. Back to the home page, the fuel receipts log. This is an example. Our guys got to get fuel all the time. And I don't have the camera set up for the app on my computer, but from your phone, you just have a camera right here, and then it's gonna just touch the screen and it records the picture. They can pick their vehicle ID and it records a receipt of their fuel transaction. So that one's really neat. What else do we have? We have our fitness logs. Our guys are expected to work out an hour and a half every day that they're on duty. So we have a ability for them to record this whenever they do exercise. Our burn permits and smoke alarms. This has the address verification. Whenever a request comes in, administration can enter the request here. Our Automate sends the request to the station's logbook, so they see everything. Then if they see it in their logbook, they can open up the app, they can search for an address here, and then they can bring up the smoke alarm entry or the burn permit, and they can edit it, and they can fill out all of the fields that we require. We use all of this data for reporting to city leadership and citizens, and all of these tools within the app and the customization that prohibits errors from happening and making sure that we get the data that we need. It's really valuable. I'll go back to the home page. We got non-emergency contacts. We have a travel and training app, which is really cool. This app, if I was to enter a request, it depends on what work section you're in. So you just pick the work section. This allows the app and the request to route throughout the fire department as needed. Ultimately, all these get approved by the fire chief, but they first go to a section head, and then the deputy chief has to approve it. And at every point along the way, there's notifications going back to the users, so they know if it's been approved or denied. So everybody's really liked this travel and training app. Again, going back to the home page, we have a couple of apps that are just notifications and contact numbers, which are cool because when our guys are on the field and they're on a fire scene, if they need to call dispatch because they need more resources, they can open up this notifications app and just hit a button and their phone calls them. We have the O2 logs and the fuel tank readings. We have our own fuel tanks at several of our stations, and we have to check them every day, state requirements, but every Wednesday we have this set up to where they can pick their location, they can stick the fuel tank and put the inches in there. It automatically calculates the gallons. Before, they had a conversion sheet and they had to look and see what the gallons were, or we built that into the system so it does it for them. Once they submit it on Wednesday about 10 or 10:30, an email notification goes out to Fire Logistics. They have all the information that they need that they can send to the fuel delivery company, and they can go on their way and know what stations they need to refuel their fuel tanks. So all this automation behind the scenes, I know it's happening because AgreeYa and Chief Walker and our staff has helped build it, but you can't see all the stuff that it's doing. But it really has saved us a lot of time, and it's been really fun building this stuff and hearing the guys in the field, say things like, "Oh, I don't have to do that anymore. The system does it for me." That kind of stuff has been really cool to see. I could go on about these apps forever, so I'll stop sharing and give it back to Canoe. I think it's time for another poll, maybe.
Thank you, Clint. It was so lovely to, for you to have a detailed demonstration of the app for our audiences today. All the attendees, time for some action. Third poll is up on your screen. We are keen to know the area of modernization that you are most interested in. Again, you have 10 seconds. Please do mark your responses. Thank you, everyone. Ankit, I'm sure you would like to take up the next case study for our audiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before I move forward, I saw the polls were talking about all of the above, which is intranet, I think reporting, application modernization. So yes, I think that's the scenario with Clint, isn't it? With the city fire department, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you get the licenses and you utilize get the ROI from it by doing all of these things, sort of.
Yeah,
Great.
for sure.
So I think these were two very exciting engagements we did. Clint, again, thank you for showing the detailed demos. Let's move on to our third case study, which is where we'll see how we leverage Power BI's data analytics and how it empowered the department to make informed decisions, optimizing resource allocation, and drive continuous improvement. Maybe, Clint, why don't you start with talking about some of the needs and challenges that prompted us to go this route, right, for this BI?
Yeah. This probably is the most exciting part to me because it's all about the data and reporting that information. Previously, all of our reporting was done through Microsoft Access. I built most of those reports. They had to be exported to Excel or printed to a PDF and then emailed out. They could only be accessed inside the city's network, that same old problem. They were very specific because they were query based and they were programmed to answer specific questions. For example, we have numerous specialty certifications that our people have, such as diver and EMT and peer fitness trainer and CISM and a task force member, hazmat tech. Well, those were all separate reports. They had to click a different button to get a different report. We use a performance management system called LFR, that stands for Leading for Results. And that reports a variety of measures to department heads, city council, and ultimately to the citizens of OKC about how well we do as firefighters. And we could show our firefighters those summary reports, but they had no way to access the details. And all of that reporting was not centralized, so they had to look for it many different places or it be provided to them through email or something like that. The fire chief might ask me as the business manager daily for a piece of information, and I would do the research and find the answer and try to get it back to him. Or the field would spend time asking for answers or inquiring how to find information. So it was just a very inefficient use of time as we were trying to report out everything that we do. Since our application and reporting was siloed, reporting was also difficult to connect to data from other applications and other software. And we really wanted to make sure our applications can communicate with each other. That transparency helps ensure accuracy with so many eyes reviewing it. Ankit, can you tell us about some of the reporting solutions AgreeYa offered us?
Absolutely, Clint. So addressing these challenges that Clint just talked about, I mean, this is how we sort of started the journey with BI. Again, firstly, we help them in aggregating data from disparate sources, like Clint talked about SQL, Oracle databases, and many more. We created unified data sets that could be visualized and analyzed cohesively in Power BI. And this consolidation helped eliminate silos and provided a comprehensive view of operational metrics and insights. And these were all dynamic reports, which means we gave the flexibility to Clint and team that they could refresh the data at any point of time, which he'll show you in the demo as well. Secondly, we redesigned the reporting framework itself by transitioning from static Excel and Access-based reports to building dynamic BI reports. These new reports were interactive again, allowing stakeholders to drill in, drill out, explore data in real time, and gain actionable insights. And by automating some of these, we helped improving overall decision-making agility and accuracy. And thirdly, we set up and configured a robust BI environment to support the deployment and operation of the new reports so that even going forward, whatever the reports are created, they have different sort of governance and framework set up. This also included optimizing the environment for performance, scalability, and reliable access to get these insights. These solutions effectively address some of the challenges Clint talked about, like static reporting, network limitations, which was accessing outside the network, query-specific data retrieval, and time inefficiencies, providing the fire department with transparent, integrated, and efficient BI reporting capabilities. Clint, what are some of the impacts you saw from these solutions?
Yeah, I mean, first, it's BI gives you the ability to slice and dice reports based on user criteria. I mean, you can select any number of criteria, and BI just instantly slices the report to exactly what you're looking for. Modernized reports integrated with the intranet were accessible from anywhere, so at home and on your phone, any mobile device. Power BI data gateways, we can set those up to refresh multiple times a day. So it ensures that reports are frequently updated with new data and everyone's seeing the most current information. The capacity of Power BI is amazing. It can handle an incredible amount of data on one report. BI makes it really easy to zoom in and zoom out of data sets, and it makes it easy to export the data for further manipulation. We have a lot of the reports is able to connect to our SQL environment, other applications such as Oracle and our CAD system and our HR system, which I'll show you a little bit about. It's easy to copy the report models and build new reports. Let me just show you a quick demo of some of these reports that we have created. Let me share my screen real quick. So as I move a report to production, I'm going to move it to one of these global navigation locations. I'll just show you a few of them. This response data report, this is going to open up in Power BI, and this is connected to our CAD system, which IT has helped me push over the data set nightly from the previous day. So we don't get it by the minute, but we get it by the day, which is really good because we have to wait for incidents to be completed. So we have to take a snapshot at some point. In this example, we're just looking at last month here. And like I mentioned in LFR, we report this to the city manager, city council, the citizens. And all of these measures are available on this one report. So the number of incidents, we did 8,139 last month. We have an average response time of 6 minutes and 28 seconds. Our goal is to respond within 7 minutes, 70% of the time. So of those 8,139 incidents, we got on scene almost 7,300 times, and we got there 5,234 times within 7 minutes. So we're at 71.72 for that result measure. You can click on any of these. So this is EMS incidents. It changes all of the information. That's the zoom in function. And then as you click on it again, it zooms back out. We also have an expectation to respond within 5 minutes and 20 seconds from when our guys are dispatched to when they get on scene. For fire responses, that gives them 1 minute and 20 seconds to put on their bunker gear And the NFPA standard is to respond with about 4 minutes of drive time, which is really tough to do in Oklahoma City because we're so spread out. There's not many cities that have managed over 621 square miles. But on structure fires, we had 78 last month. We got there in 5 minutes and 20 seconds, 59 times. And then on other fires, we had 226, and you can see the percentage is quite a bit less, but that's because structure fires are, inside the city, more populated areas, older structures. We have more stations in those locations. Our response time is going to be better. And then with the big city, we have a lot of grass fires, and some of these other fires are just rural fires, which are going to take us longer to get to. So this is one report that has about 12 different measures that we had to report monthly, all on one screen. So that's a really cool report. Another one is our specialty dashboard. I'll show this one just because I mentioned it earlier. These are all of the specialties across the top that our guys can get, all the different certifications or incentive pays that they might get. This is a quick refresh here or reset of all the filters. And then if you click on any of these, it's going to limit the information. So like we have a bike team and we have 76 members on the bike team. So you can see that all the members here have the little bike icon, but it also has an icon for their other certifications or incentive pays, which is really neat. If it's highlighted in yellow, that means they're on a long-term leave. This is just a setting that we have in our HR system. So this report is connected to that HR system. And then if we did need to deploy the bike team, we have our phone numbers, their rank, their station, their assignments. So this one report took the place of about 15 other reports that were just on PDF files and weren't interactive. And you can imagine if we reset this filter and we're looking for education incentives, I mean, we have 659 people that have some sort of education incentives, so that would be a pretty long PDF report. This is a really great report. I'll show you another one. We have all of our financials here. This is a newer one because we recently switched from PeopleSoft to Oracle, and this report is connected to our Oracle database. And I figured out pretty quick that BI was powerful enough that I didn't need to just limit my reporting and report building to the fire department. So I just removed all the filters and I just got everything. So this report actually has all the POs for everyone in the city. I actually created another workspace and I started sharing it with other departments. And there's a lot of departments that are using the fire department report to look at POs and financials and different things. One thing that's cool on here, and I'm not going to go through the demonstration, but one of AgreeYa's developers, Deepak, who has been instrumental in building all of these reports. I think we've got close to 30 or 35 reports now. But he added this feature here that shows where you can just ask it a question. I could just type it in there and it'll show me its best guess at an answer. But this is just sort of enlightening to what the future looks like. I mean, there's going to be a microphone here and not very long, and you can probably do it now, we're just going to be able to talk to our data. We're just going to ask it a question and it's going to take all this data that's in this BI environment and it's going to be able to give us an answer, and it's probably going to be pretty accurate. So that's exciting to me. Like I said, I could go on forever about these reports, but I'll give it back to Ankit and Kanu so we can move on to the next section. Let me stop sharing my screen here.
Thank you, Clint. Thank you again for sharing all the reports with our attendees today. It's time for Q&A, but before that, I'd like to thank Clint and Ankit. The session was truly enlightening. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights and expertise with us today. Your contributions have provided us with a deeper understanding of how modern workplace solutions can transform emergency services, enhance efficiency, and improve overall service delivery to the community. We are truly grateful for your time and expertise. Dear attendees, the floor is now open for question and answers. Please start posting your questions in Q&A section, and Ankit and Clint will be happy to take them up for you.
Yeah, thank you, Kanu. I see one question already there, which is great, I think from Harsh. So what were the interesting project? What was the size of the whole project? in terms of time, effort, and costing. So I can take it, and then Clint can add on. Again, we had different resources working on this engagement, right? Even for the BI, and it really depends on the how much needs are there, what type of requirements are there, right? So the costing and effort is really dependent on that part. But I think this is an ongoing engagement with the fire department. We have built almost like 15 plus apps and 30 plus reports, and we are building it further. Clint, do you want to add on to it?
Yeah, we started the contract with AgreeYa in April of 2023. About the first 6 months was just the intranet development. So we weren't doing a lot of other things at that time. The cost for that, I feel, was very fair. I don't remember the exact amount, but for 6 months worth of time and all the resources they had on it, I think that amount, I don't remember the exact amount. But then after that, we saw the possibilities. So we really opened up the PO. And since October, the last 9 months has really been all of the development, all of the BI report, all of the operations app. It's been, I think there's more than 15 apps. I think there's more than 30 reports. But I do want to say that like the relationship with AgreeYa is they are bringing on resources as we request them. So I control the cost in a lot of ways. If I don't need a resource, I'll just work with the project manager over there and say that we don't want to pay for this resource. We want to focus on this. And we went back and forth on some things. I thought we didn't need stuff, and they removed the resource, and then turns out we did need it, and they just bring another one right back. So the flexibility has been great, you know. Yeah, so that's about all I have to say about the time and where we're at now. I can't wait to see what it looks like in a year.
Wonderful. We have two more questions. The next one is, what Microsoft licensing are the department using? E5, G5, etc.
G5.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So the next question is, how are users accessing legacy apps that are not web-based?
Well, that's a good question. I'd spent a lot of time with those legacy applications, at least moving the underlying data to a SQL environment. And as I knew access, that was the primary thing that I built things on, was not accessible outside the city and different things. But since the data was stored in our SQL environment, they still work both places. And that was really important to me, and really important that AgreeYa understood the need for that. You know, we constantly say that we're trying to rebuild a car engine while we're going 100 miles an hour. I mean, that's what we're doing. You know, we're redoing this on the fly. So it was really important that we kept that functionality and that ability for our people to use those old legacy systems. And AgreeYa was very thoughtful in the way that we implemented and helped design this architecture so that we were able to do that. So those are still usable and accessible, but I'm looking forward to phasing them out and getting everything on SharePoint Online.
Yeah, and I just want to add, a big part there is really user adoption, right? And change management. When you move the user from legacy to these modern apps, that's the really important part, which is where we also helped.
Great question.
Do we have any more questions coming up, dear attendees? All right. So we'll wait for a few more seconds in case anyone has any more questions. Participants, please share your questions in the Q&A box for Ankit and Clint to take it up. I think that's it, Ankit and Clint.
I think we can move forward. And if there are
sure.
still more questions, we can take it if time permits. That's okay.
Certainly.
All right. So just wanted to share a little more about AgreeYa, right? And this is where we have not only helped Oklahoma City Fire Department, but also several other customers during their entire modernization journey. So not only the intranet, app modernization, migrating legacy apps, building reports, adoption and training, governance and framework and architecture. So all those things. And again, we serve over 550 customers. As you can see, some of them listed here. Some of them are major counties like Alameda, San Mateo, and LA, and cities such as San Jose and Fontana. Our clients range from Verizon and Delta Dental to public entities like SMUD and transportation authorities. And again, with deep industry expertise, we deliver innovative solutions tailored to customers' needs so that it creates a long-lasting value. And also, they are able to extract the ROI from their licensing and tools. Also wanted to share where AgreeYa Solutions specializes. It's sort of divided into these three key areas. Firstly, the cloud and infrastructure. This is where we do seamless cloud transitions, whether it's a lift and shift or to building cloud native solutions. We do expertise in hybrid environments, microservices, serverless computing, and app modernization. And we have also integrated a lot of these apps with Gen AI, and ML solutions, which is more happening these days. Second is modern workplace, which is what we talked about today. So transformations using Microsoft 365, whether it's Teams, SharePoint, Power Platform, or even doing a complete Microsoft 365 security assessment for your tenant, right? Or building automation, doing workflows management, or creating intranet solutions. And then thirdly, hyper automation. This is where enhancing efficiency via process mining. And as you can see at the bottom, have expertise around Microsoft 365, Azure, Power BI, and so on. So let's move to again, as we move to the close of this session, let's just reflect on the journey that we did together, from embracing challenges to fostering new technologies, business continuity, and cultural inclusivity. Our key takeaways illuminate the path to a more empowered digital future. And some of these takeaways, as you can see here, Clint, again, our journey, especially with the fire department, digital transformation has been remarkable so far. We have tackled operational inefficiencies head on, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, Ankit. The automation and workflow optimization you've implemented, they've been game changers for our processes.
Yeah, and let's not forget the public engagement part, right? So modernizing these systems has made it more accessible for your users and responsive to the community.
Of course, the data-driven decision-making tools have empowered us to make strategic choices. The insights we've gained are invaluable.
Right, and I think one of the big challenges you had was obviously user adoption, right? So our focus on user adoption during this journey has really paid off too. The seamless collaboration with the modern workplace solutions improved all those things significantly.
It did, that's right. And thanks to your team, and everybody that's worked on it here, we're ready for the future. The digital resilience and citizen-centric solutions you provided have set us up for long-term success. So we're really excited about that.
Great. So with all these advancements, just a quick question, Clint. I'm curious, what's the City Fire Department's vision for Microsoft going forward? Like with these modernization, what else do you think will cave in?
Well, that's a great question, Ankit. And I mentioned a little bit on that PO report, but we're actively exploring AI to enhance our services further. We know that generative AI can be integrated into many of our processes and make them more efficient. AI-driven analytics for predictive modeling can also help us automate routine tasks, which will allow us to focus on more strategic initiatives. It's an exciting time for the Oklahoma City Fire Department as we embrace these new technologies.
It's been a pleasure working with you and the City Fire Department, Clint. We're proud to have contributed to these achievements. Over to you, Kanu.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ankit and Clint. We have one follow-up question again, and it is, how are users authenticated?
Yeah, I can take that up. So we are using Azure AD authentication. This is all tightly integrated to Graph and Azure AD. All these applications are built on Power Platform, SharePoint, and Teams. That's what we use. I think the next question is, where do you store most of your data using your modern apps, Dataverse, SharePoint List, or Azure? I think it's really depends on the need of the app. So for most of these applications that you saw, it was residing into SharePoint as a backend. So we had different sites for each app. But if need be, if there's a huge data set, Dataverse is an option, possibly real-time updates, Azure SQL could also be an option. Anu, there's a question, will this presentation be available to view later?
Yes, certainly. The presentation will be available after the live webinar is over. All right, any more questions? Anyone? All right. So as we come to the end of our webinar, I sincerely want to express my gratitude to our speakers, Ankit and Clint, organizers, and all our participants for their active involvement and engagement. Your contributions have made this webinar a resounding success. Special thanks to MISAC organizers for arranging this thought-provoking session. We hope all of you have found today's discussion informative and inspiring. On behalf of Oklahoma City Fire Department, AgreeYa Solutions, and entire webinar team, thank you for joining us today. Let the digital transformation continue. If you have any questions or feedback, please contact AgreeYa Solutions at the mentioned email ID. Wishing you all a wonderful day ahead. Until next time, take care and have a good day, everyone.